Going to the next team, the last team in the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers, a team that made a splash with Jimmy Garoppolo in the middle of last season, seems to be working out so far. They make him the highest paid quarterback there is. And they surrounded this team this offseason with some pretty good players. They went out in free agency. They got a Jerick McKinnon at running back. They got a Richard Sherman in the secondary, a couple other players as well. But they still had a few holes to fill. But the 49ers are a team that a lot of people would look at, including myself, as saying, hey, this team could make the playoffs this year. It would be very interesting to see what happens. But Shanahan did a really good job once he got Garoppolo. And John Lynch has done a good job filling out this roster. In the first round, they went with Mike McGlinchey at pick number 9, which I also think hurt the Raiders because the Raiders were going to pick McGlinchey but then had to trade back, which also screwed them over for the whole Cardinals situation there. But Mike McGlinchey at offensive tackle, he can start at right tackle right now, which they needed a right tackle. They got rid of Trent Brown to the Patriots, doesn't really fit their scheme. McGlinchey, smaller, more agile, ability to move with those Shanahan zone runs. Then you can move him over to the left tackle when Joe Staley retires. Joe Staley's still a good player, but he's going to retire pretty soon. So you have a franchise right tackle or left tackle if you choose to at pick number 9 for Notre Dame. Dante Pettis, I feel like a lot of people thought it was a little bit of a reach, but he's a dynamic return guy. I think he had like 9 return touchdowns or something like that in his career. He's just a prototypical Kyle Shanahan receiver. They kind of need to add one more guy there. They have who on their depth chart? They have Goodwin,
Garcon, Trent Taylor, Robinson, and then Richie or James and Pettis would slide right into there.
So Pettis will probably be their third receiver.
Yeah, like if you think he's better than Trent Taylor, right now they have Trent Taylor as the starting slot receiver.
Yeah, so depending on what Pettis gives them, he might play in the slot or wherever. But Garcon and Goodwin already a good combo, and then Pettis could kind of help take the top off of the defense there. Number 3 or third round pick, they had 2 of them, 1 free safety, 1 outside linebacker. Fred Warner, athletic guy who could cover, which they sort of needed, and they also needed to think about replacing Foster if something happens to him.
Yeah,
Yep. Go ahead.
No, I do like that because I think Fred Warner, who knows, but I think if he can't, because obviously he's Mike, the same as Foster, I think no matter what, they should try to figure out a way to get this guy on the field, even with Foster. Because if Foster's not playing, then yeah, take that position. But even if Foster is playing, like right now, Malcolm Smith is so off and on, but he seemed to play decent with San Francisco last year. Was he with Sam?
Yeah,
like near the end of the year, right?
He didn't play too much though. I think he was hurt last year.
Well, let's see here. Oh yeah, IR IR right away. But I guess so at the tail end of his Oakland days, he's decent. But I don't know how much you can rely on him. And then like Eli Harold, who I've never heard of, is their Sam linebacker.
He's okay. Travarius Moore.
I think Fred Warner is better than both those guys, even right now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about Malcolm Smith, but maybe. Travarius Moore, free safety, says here, I don't know much about him, but rangy young safety who will be a special team star. So he can immediately contribute on special teams, but you would think that Lynch would know his safeties pretty well. And then going on, Kentavious Street is an interesting pick, a guy that played in a very stacked defensive line at NC State. A guy that's just apparently a really good dude, really hard worker. Has flashed at times the ability to rush from the interior. So maybe they add another guy there, which their D-line is already pretty good. But they added DJ Reed, another corner, slot corner there. He's 5'9", small guy, but really good ball skills. And later in the draft, another Julian Taylor, defensive tackle from Temple, and Richie James, wide receiver, another guy to add into the wide receiver conversation, another guy that's similar to, I guess, Trent Taylor, 5'9", small, shorter guy, but kind of electric with the ball in his hands. So there's a lot of guys like that. They got a few receivers, or two receivers, a couple safeties, a couple D linemen, a corner, offensive lineman. So they really addressed pretty much all their needs. But AC, what did you think of this draft for San Francisco?
Oh, first I thought to me it was actually more like a B minus B just on the draft.
Yeah,
but then I realized
that's what I gave them as well.
but I realized we'll throw in what they did with their second round pick. So I'll be a B. Mike McGlinchey, great pick. That's what they needed. I know they like Dante Pettis at 44, but I still think there were some better corners. I'm not sold on their corners besides Richard Sherman. Witherspoon and Williams being one of the corners and then the nickel, right? That's your 2-3. I'd have to watch
and as well, there were a lot of corners that do fit that scheme that they could have possibly gotten.
But they like Pettis, and I think Pettis might be more for just the kick return because watching San Fran play last year, like Taylor when he was kick returning wasn't that great. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like, don't drop the ball. Like he's not a game breaker. You know what I mean? Like he's just a guy. Oh, he just never dropped.
But I do think that he'll be their third receiver. I know that Trent Taylor's okay, but
but if Dante, but that's the thing. If right now on the depth chart they have Dante Pettis playing on the outside, so if they can, and I know at Washington he played more on the outside, so if he can play in the slot, that would be a good 1-2-3 of Garcon, Goodwin, and Pettis.
Yeah, so I think
they also have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maxwell McCaffrey. Is that one of the yeah, it is.
Who's that?
One of the McCaffrey brothers, man.
Wow. All right, so San Francisco.
Ed McCaffrey's other son.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. Didn't know he had another son.
Yeah, but he didn't go to Stanford. He went to Duke.
San Francisco, we'll see how some of their picks work out. Kyle Shanahan and Lynch done well so far. We'll see the two guys that picked some familiar positions. Shanahan knows the receiver position pretty well, and Lynch knows the safety position pretty well. We'll see if those picks work out, as well as Mike McGlinchey getting their cornerstone at left tackle for the future and their current right tackle. But San Francisco just addressed a ton of needs all over the board, and we'll see what happens. They're a promising young team, and of course, they did get Jimmy Garoppolo as part of this draft as well.